Well, it's been quite some time since I got to crack this microphone. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Apex to Asphalt. We are back in the saddle again. Been a long time since we've been here. My name is Darryl Kinsey Jr., of course, your host. I want to thank everybody for joining us here this evening. We're going to get into H1 Unlimited that finally got their season started, Formula One, NASCAR, and IndyCar, and of course, where I've been over the last couple of months and what we have missed. But before all that, we are going to take a little bit of a break to pay some bills. And we will be right back. We'll be getting started right after this.
For the last 10 years, IE Sports Radio has been bringing you amazing content ranging from interviewing legendary athletes, coaches, and other authorized media personnel to building tailor-made shows dedicated to all major sports cities around the country. Make sure to follow us at IE Sports Radio on X, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube to keep up with the latest in sports and with all of our shows. Also, make sure to check out our daily updated website at iesportsradio.com. At iesportsradio.com, you can see our daily show schedule and check out all of our show pages with personal bios to learn a little bit more about each of our awesome hosts. In addition to our show pages, you can catch the iSports Radio blog, Hall of Fame, Fans of the Month page, and our merchandise shop including t-shirts, tank tops, caps, long sleeves, hoodies, and more. For now over a decade here at IE Sports Radio, we've continued to be by the fans, for the fans, and we thank you all for your support and for making IE Sports Radio your direct feed for all that is sports.
All right, we're back here on Apex to Asphalt on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. And I know you all have been wondering, where have you been, Darryl? The last time I was on, it was in about March to mid-April, not unfortunately. During that time, there were several major life events for me happening at the same time. One of them was I was getting ready to get married. The wife needed my help with the planning, so I had to make a sacrifice and step away from the show for just a little bit to help get that very special day all set up. I was also, as you can see, in the process of moving, and I'll talk about that in a minute. And I needed to step away as trying to juggle real life between work, moving, getting ready for the wedding, and trying to do this show was taking its toll. So I had to make a little bit of a sacrifice. I had to step away from the show. We managed to get the house done. My mom and I got the house that we are in now all set up and ready to go in May. Started moving my stuff the first week of June, and in June 13th, I got married. So I have joined the ranks of the IE Sports Radio married hosts between Chris and Larry, who we should be seeing later on tonight. And after that, went out to Jamaica for 10 days, had a wonderful time. It was very hot. Before then, got to go to the NHRA Potomac Nats, the first ever NHRA event in Southern Maryland. I'll talk about that here in a little bit as we get into our segments. But now we are back in action and we are rolling on to the end of the season. I missed you all and I am ready to get back going. But before we get into what was in the present, we gotta go back and talk about in the past and everything we missed, or the major talking points of what we missed while I was away. And we'll start with the World Endurance Championship, where the 24 Hours of Le Mans actually ran on my wedding day. somebody forgot to check the calendar a year in advance. But hey, weddings matter a lot more than car races, so I had to make a sacrifice, and I did get to watch some of the 24 hours of Le Mans, and I did get to see Toyota take their first win at Le Mans in quite some time with the number 7 GR10 hybrid driven by Kamui Kobayashi, Mike Conway, and Nick DeVries securing the victory. It was a hard-fought race for Toyota, who may not have had the full-out speed as everyone else, as the LMDH cars, the Le Mans Daytona hybrids as they're called, were extremely strong in this year's race. Had a good showing from BMW, who ended up finishing second with the 20. Cadillac Hertz Team Jota, which was just off the podium, in fourth with Luis de la Traz, Will Stevens, and Norman Nato. But there was an early yellow flag moment, and Toyota decided to go long on that during that safety. Actually, no, they brought the cars in during the safety car period, managed to cycle back to the front, and those cars were in that position and were able to fight for the win with BMW the rest of the way. And as you guys know, I am the resident Toyota fan, and it was so good to see our car finally pick up the win in this new era of WEC hypercar action, where we have a bunch of cars in the class. We have 20 cars in the class, a lot of competition, a lot of heartbreak for Toyota during this time. They got blitzed by Ferrari the first couple of years. They completely redesigned what at the time was the oldest car in the field, and they made it into a rocket ship. They did win earlier in the season, had a little bit of a struggle. Actually, they won at Imola, had a little bit of struggle at Spa, which is usually seen as the dress rehearsal to the 24 hours of Le Mans, but they came out, made a savvy play during the race. They were able to put themselves up front. In LMP2, it was inter-Europol competition with Jacob Smichowski, Tom Dillman, and Nicholas Yilov getting the win in the 43 with the 343. I'm not going to try to pronounce those names. Nico Muller was in the 343. Bijoy Garg and Rashad DeGiris were the other two drivers. Excuse me for those pronunciations, with Forrester Racing by Panis picking up third and rounding out that podium. And in the all Orica LMP2 class, that is team versus team, driver versus driver, and it was inter-Europol, which came out ahead in dominating fashion. LMGT3 TF Sport Corvette picks up their first 24 hours of Le Mans win in the GT3 era, with Ben Keating, Johnny Edgar, and Nicky Katzberg picking up the win. Akatis Asp team, the Lexus RCF, which was a strong contender during the balance of the race, with Tom Van Rompuy, Hadrian David, and Jack Hawksworth finishing second, and Gary Newell, Eduardo Barrichello, and Johnny Adam for the Heart of Racing Aston Martin Vantage was third to round out the podium in LMGT3, and the Corvette was consistent during the race. They really came on in the last couple of hours, got around Akotis Asp, and managed to hold on to take the win in the 24 hours of Le Mans, one of my favorite races. And it's truly now a 24-hour sprint. We had actually a lap according to this, between the GT3 class podiums, which is not something you see very often anymore in endurance racing. Actually, this is to the leader, not to each other. Hypercar was decided by 10 seconds. That is the closest finish in the history of the Le Mans 24 Hours. It used to be if you were a lap down to the leader in second, you did a good job. It is now all gas, no brakes in the 24 Hours of Le Mans going forward. In Formula One, when the season started, Mercedes was absolutely dominant. To start the year, it looked like it was just going to be a championship decided between Kimi Antonelli and George Russell. However, in the last couple of races, Ferrari has found the speed. They got a couple of ADU upgrades, and they have put them to work. Lewis Hamilton picked up a win in Barcelona. George Russell did get a win in, I believe it was George Russell. Hold on, let me make sure I got the right name of the Austrian GP. In the Austrian Grand Prix, that race went to George Russell. I was right, sorry. But then Charles Leclerc, first time in 624 days, picks up the win in Great Britain, and it's shrank the lead in the teams between Mercedes and Ferrari. Is now under 100 points, and it's starting to constrict the driver's title at the top with Kimi Antonelli and George Russell still first and second, but the gap back to Lewis Hamilton and Charles Leclerc, it is closing. But Max Verstappen, 76 points, spun with 5 laps to go in the British Grand Prix. There is trouble in paradise in Red Bull. Chris, unfortunately, cannot be here tonight, but he would tell you there is an implosion going on right now when it comes to Red Bull, and we could see Max jumping ship at the end of the year. In IndyCar, while Alex Palou continues to lead, the Indy 500 ran in May, and it was Felix Rosenqvist in a one-lap shootout, edging out David Malukas by 0.2 of a second. I have said this for a while, and I will continue to say it. The Indianapolis 500 is at a point where it is completely impossible to have a bad race for the Indy 500. There was cooler temperatures during this Indy 500, so we did not see a lot of tire wear, but we did see a lot of strategy getting played. But at the end of the day, to see Malukas and Rosenqvist go at it was amazing. David Malukas, of course, driving for Penske in the 12 that Will Power made famous, had that opportunity to repay the captain with a win at the racetrack he owns, couldn't do it, and you could see at that point the emotion on David Malukas of not winning this race. And finishing second at the Indy 500 for IndyCar drivers just hits different. This is the race of record for that championship. It is the crown that the rest of the jewels are held on. And you want to win the Indianapolis 500, probably even more than you want to win the championship, which right now continues to be led by Alex Palou, although hasn't been the same for Alex Palou. He's kind of regressed to just being a really good driver this year instead of all-time otherworldly like he has been. But he's still leading the championship by 56 points going into the second half of the season. Now they just wrapped up Mid-Ohio that we'll talk about later on. We are supposed to have Freddie B joining us in a little bit. But we did get some big news coming down for IndyCar, and we will talk about that later as well, with some driver moves that are happening, including a big driver move with Ganassi Racing, where their long-term driver, Scott Dixon, he's on the move. And MotoGP, and I have titled here on my sheet, The Fall and Rise of Marc Marquez. If you've been following MotoGP since the start of the season, Marquez, the GOAT, or the heir apparent to GOAT status in MotoGP, struggled at the start of the season. He had crashes, uncharacteristic finishes. He did get injured in one race, and it looked like that was all she wrote for the big guy, Marc Marquez. And meanwhile, it looked like Marco Bezzecchi was going to ride off into the sunset as the championship winner, as he could not be beat. However, a suspension for punching a official, go look that up, sidelined Bezzecchi. Meanwhile, Marc Marquez came back to the bike, got onto his winning ways, won 2 straight races, finished 7th in the most recent race in Assen. However, he's now only 40 points out of the championship. It is not over yet for Marc Marquez. Meanwhile, Jorge Martin for Aprilia Racing now leads the championship by 7 over Marco Bezzecchi, who has sat idle with his suspension. And it is looking like he may still be in this championship, Marc Marquez. Meanwhile, Alex Marquez is going to be on the move on the move over to KTM. He'll be a factory KTM rider in 2027. As silly season is underway. Meanwhile, Marc Marquez, he decided he is going to come back for another season. So we will see him in 2027. So we'll see how things go coming up. That is a pretty good wrap up of what we have seen. And actually, Bezzecchi crashed out after one lap, at the TT Circuit Assen. And that is unfortunate, as his championship run is coming, or his championship lead has really evaporated. We've also seen that for Tyler Reddick in NASCAR. We'll come and talk about that in a moment. As my co-host for the evening, they're just wrapping up their program actually as we speak. So we'll be talking to them in just a little bit, as we will be joined by Larry B and Freddie B. They're wrapping up Dirt and Diamonds as we speak here on iSports Radio. But we are going to take a quick little break. And when we come back, H1 Unlimited got their season started this weekend. And don't call it a comeback for Jimmy Shane, as he's back to his winning ways. And we'll explain that on the other side of this break here on Apex Asphalt on iSports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Hi, eSports Radio fans. This show is brought to you by Planet Jerky Premium Brisket Beef Jerky. Planet Jerky is the official jerky of the 2022 California League champion Lake Elsinore Storm, single-A affiliate of the San Diego Padres. This all-brisket jerky has gluten-free options, contains no MSG, no sodium nitrate, is low in sugar, high in protein. Go to their website at planetjerky.net and follow them on Instagram at Planet Jerky. Planet Jerky, the jerky that's on a whole other planet.
And we're back here on Apex Asphalt on iSports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Darryl Kinsey Jr. here with you this evening. And if you see above me in the new place, I finally got the fender I got from Richmond 2019 mounted on the wall. For those that have been with us for a while, you know where this is from, but for the newbies, this fender I actually won by complete accident during the little pit stop challenge they were doing at the Richmond Raceway. I was just there to do the stop. And if you've been to a NASCAR race, you've seen it. They've got the traditional 5-lug wheel up there. They actually had one of Ross Chastain's pit crew guys there. You were competing against them, and you hit the wheel, you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, smack the gun, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you're done. I managed to beat the guy. I have the video. I am 95% sure he let me win, which it's fine. It's whatever. I'm not a professional pit crew guy, and that's fine. So I win. I'm about to walk off, and they grab me, and this autographed piece from then Camping World Truck Series driver Lawless Allen now sits on my wall here in my office. And it's one of the coolest pieces of memorabilia I have ever won. And I absolutely love it. And I'm so glad it's now sitting behind me on my wall. And we'll be adding some more pieces of memorabilia as we go forward. So let's get into racing from the track to the river, the Ohio River in this case, as H1 Unlimited made their return to racing this season as the 3,000 horsepower fastest race boats, or fastest inboard race boats in the country, returned to Madison, Indiana for the Madison Regatta and the race for the Gold Cup, the oldest professional racing trophy still contested. And do not call it a comeback for Jimmy Shane, who after a 4-year hiatus is back in the sport, driving the Miss Apollo for BWR Racing. And it looked like he never left. Jimmy threw down some fast laps all weekend long. Did not need a lot of time to shake off the rust. Him and Andrew Tate, who are now championship rivals turned teammates, they were letting it all hang out this weekend. Those boats on a rough Ohio River were uncomfortably unstable for those of us watching on the stream. There were a couple of times where the front ends of those boats got real light, particularly in the final, where Andrew Tate had that right sponson up off the water to the point where the skid fin was barely holding on, but he managed to bring it back down. And if you've ever driven HydroSim, shameless plug, you know how hard that is. But at the end of the day, it would be Jimmy Shane returning from a 4-year hiatus to win the Gold Cup and take the national high points lead going into Tri-Cities. This was also the return of, this is also the weekend debut of Brandon Kennedy, who is known in the GP ranks, racing with his family. He has made the step up to H1 Unlimited competition with the Royer Miss Madison team. The only boat owned by an actual municipality as Madison, Indiana, the city, owns Miss Madison, the race boat. And there was a little bit of, actually not a little, but there was a huge controversy over that team as Miss Madison, the previous stewards of the team, I'll say it like that, sold the parts and pieces to what is now BWR Racing. That led to a huge political firestorm in town, which ended up with that board of Miss Madison being dissolved and a new board being put into its place. A lot more county or city oversight put into the new board. They have now come together to bring a new Miss Madison boat. They did run at Madison last year. They've expanded to run 3 of the 4 races this season with sponsorship from Royer, which is a plastics manufacturing company in the city of Madison, Indiana. And their race boat came back and had a respectable weekend. Brandon Kennedy, in his first start as an H1 Unlimited driver, got qualified earlier in the year during testing at Tri-Cities, and now he is, got qualified as a driver last year, and now he was a full-fledged driver and made the final as the trailer boat in the 5-boat winner-take-all final. For those of you that have not watched H1 Unlimited, that means that there are 4 boats on the front line. The trailer boat starts 5 seconds behind the field, but Brandon Kennedy, in his first run of the year, brings it home with a shot or race in the final and a finish in the final and some good points heading into round 2. However, for bucket list racing, Madison, Indiana, and the Ohio River continues to be their bugaboo. Dylan Runney making his return to H1 Unlimited action with the bucket list racing. The boat was bad fast in qualifying. Unfortunately, bad luck bit that team all weekend long. 3B was the nail in the coffin where Dylan had lane 1, went into turn number 1. The boat stepped out. He spun into the DMZ, which is a place in the corner where the rescue boats sit. Race boats cannot enter the DMZ. It is a automatic disqualification. That disqualification was handed down, and with 0 points in the run or in that heat, Dylan's opportunity to run in his first final with bucket list disappeared. And unfortunately, Madison, Indiana and bucket list racing just doesn't mix. When Dave Vilwalk drove the U40, there was an unfortunate incident where Dave hit pretty much the biggest log that has been in that river during racing in recent memory, tore up the bottom of the boat and put the U40 on the shelf before really turning a lap in anger. A couple of years ago, Dustin Eccles in the final put the boat up on its lid. That video actually ended up on ESPN a few years back on the Pat McAfee show. And then this week, the boat was fast, but just no racing luck. There were jump starts. There were the spin I just mentioned, and the Stocklands, I think they're going to have to do what Knicks fans did and just sage their pit before they go to Madison next year, just to ward off whatever bad juju is following them there, because it has been a challenge. It has been a struggle. But the thing is, the U40, when it did run well, showed some impressive speed. So coming into water that is going to be better for them, which is Tri-Cities at the end of the month, that boat is going to be in great company. And it's probably going to be in with a shout to give the Stocklands their long-awaited win in H1 Unlimited competition. Now, as I said, the next race will be in 17 days for Tri-Cities, July 24th through 26th. One of the bigger events of the season, the 2026 Waterfallies Apollo Columbia Cup. And there'll also be an air show during that weekend as well, sponsored by STCU. Of course, we will be there for the boats. It'll be a much expanded field, as we are expecting to see Go Fast, Turn Left, and Graham Trucking make their appearance during that weekend, and they will run most of the West Coast races, which is really 3/4 of the season now that we have lost Gunnersville. But during the racing weekend, there were conversations with H1 leadership on stream, and there is a chance that we could be getting at least 2 new race sites one in Davenport, Iowa, and another in Indiana. Sorry, not Indiana, in Illinois. And keep your ears to the ground on that, as the season could be expanding as early as next year from 4 to 5 or even 6 race sites for H1 Unlimited, which would be great for a series that has a lot of great racing with it. Even on the undercard, we had Grand Prix America there with us this weekend. We did have some of the H350s show up. The 5-liter boats, as they're called in APBA, also showed up, and also the Jersey Speed Skiffs, which is a huge class in this area. And you're going to have to go to YouTube and Google Jersey Speed Skiff. I can't do it justice with words, just how crazy this class is. It's basically two guys, or guy and a gal, in what could best be described as a bathtub with an engine inside of it. And it is rough riding. There's a lot of contact, a lot of close racing. It's a lot of fun to watch because there's usually a lot of boats out there with Jersey Speed Skiff. And they put on a great show for everybody. And we will hopefully see them. We'll probably see them again here. There's an APBA race in Cambridge that usually happens near the end of July. I'm not sure if that race is still happening this year. Actually, I can Google that now. Just to see if we will be having the Thunder on the Chop Tank. And it looks like we will. That race has been moved to August 29th and August 30th. The race was in July, will now be run at the end of August. They really needed to do that, as now that is spaced out. Got them away from the Valleyfield weekend and really made them their own event. So hopefully we'll get a few more boats down there down in Cambridge, and I do plan on going if that race, hopefully the weather will be better as we get ready to August to go racing. There will be no H1 Unlimited there, of course, but there'll be plenty of other classes from the APBA in action. So we'll move on to Formula One now, and the British Grand Prix that wrapped up on Sunday. And as I said earlier, we are now into a position where it is now a full-on conclusion. It's gone from a foregone conclusion that the race for the championship would go through Mercedes. It is now a race where Ferrari has started to assert itself as a championship contender. Now, as I spoke earlier, there have been a number of upgrades both to the engine and chassis to the Ferrari, and they are starting to not really starting to claw in. They are bringing back some of that advantage that Mercedes has had. They've kept them on their toes. It looked like, Lewis Hamilton was on the pole for the sprint this weekend. Kimi Antonelli did end up getting past him for the win, but it was not a walkaway by any stretch of the imagination. You go into Sunday, and Antonelli breaks his wing, ends up P16, while Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton run 1-3, giving Charles Leclerc his first win after 624 days, and really quiets a lot of the boo birds around Charles Leclerc, as there's a lot of conversation, especially when Lewis got that win at Barcelona. A lot of conversation started on whether or not Charles still had it, or was he washed up, and he proved it on Sunday that he still got a little in the tank. Meanwhile, Lewis Hamilton, always strong in his home GP, gets back onto the podium after finishing 4th last year. George Russell ends up finishing 2nd, so following up his win in Austria with another podium appearance. And I wish this is one of those moments where I wish Chris was here. Max Verstappen, I think, is on his way to driving for Mercedes in GT3 at this point. Had another rear wing issue, or the rear wing failed to close. This time with 5 laps to go in the race. He ends up spinning out and hits the wall, ends up out of the race. After that event, he storms off to his motorhome, does not speak to Laurent Mekies. That leads into a huge confrontation between him and Jos Verstappen, who is, of course, Max Verstappen's father. And there are conversations right now that with the current position for Max, he can issue his break clause and get out of his contract without issue. That is not good for Red Bull, a team that has not really had a great job of developing talent. There is a wasteland of talent that they have failed to develop next to Max Verstappen. And now the guy you've sacrificed all these drivers to, you may have pissed him off to the point that he's leaving the team. And if he leaves the team, there's a question of where could he go. Mercedes seems to be standing pat with George Russell and Kimi Antonelli. McLaren came out, Zach Brown came out and said he is happy with his drivers. Now that Red Bull seat does come open, there's a chance Oscar Piastri, whose team is extremely upset with how the 2025 championship was proctored over at McLaren, could jump over to Red Bull for a chance for Oscar to be a number 1 driver, which would then allow Max, if he still wants to stay in Formula 1, to move over to McLaren. There are 2 problems with that. McLaren is not the team that they were last year. They are 5th and 6th in the championship as far as their drivers, and as far as the teams, they are currently a distant 3rd. So would Max leave that team to go one step up the grid? It would be more of a lateral move than a upgrade of any chance. And does he want to keep running under the rule set that he cannot stand? Max has been extremely vocal in that he does not like this rule set. And I just don't see him staying around if with this rule set and a car that is uncompetitive or not running for the championship. We know Lando and Oscar have had their reliability challenges this year with the car, and I don't really see Max signing up for that. So could this be the time where Max goes, I'm done with Formula 1. I'm going to go and run my GT3 team and race at the Nürburgring and probably Le Mans, because he'll have that opportunity to do that now. Time will tell, but I'm interested to see how this goes. But I do not see Max staying at Red Bull much longer, because all signs point to this being an explosive divorce between the driver that the team was built around and the team that sacrificed everyone else for one driver's success. So we're going to take another break. When we come back, we're going to get into NASCAR and the return to Chicagoland. And we'll wrap up with some IndyCar discussion for our first time back in quite some time on Apex to Asphalt on iSports Radio, your feed for all that is sports. Be right back.
For the last 10 years, IE Sports Radio has been bringing you amazing content ranging from interviewing legendary athletes, coaches, and other authorized media personnel to building tailor-made shows dedicated to all major sports cities around the country. Make sure to follow us at IE Sports Radio on X, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube to keep up with the latest in sports and with all of our shows. Also, make sure to check out our daily updated website at iesportsradio.com. At iesportsradio.com, you can see our daily show schedule and check out all of our show pages with personal bios to learn a little bit more about each of our awesome hosts. In addition to our show pages, you can catch the iSports Radio blog, Hall of Fame, Fans of the Month page, and our merchandise shop including t-shirts, tank tops, caps, long sleeves, hoodies, and more. For now over a decade here at iSports Radio, we've continued to be by the fans, for the fans, and we thank you all for your support and for making iSports Radio your direct feed for all that is sports. Rise and shine. It's 4 a.m. The stars are still out. The sun is beneath the horizon, but it's time to punch in and go to work. The comfort of your warm-ups turns into the grinding out of your reps as the clinking and the clanking of the plates create a symphony of euphoria. There's no other feeling like it. Earn it, burn it, and take what's yours. IE Sports Radio has proudly partnered with Vital Apparel, a brand that not only fits great, but also promotes and donates to mental health research. Use our code IESR to get 15% off their comfortable and inspiring gym wear and help them on their amazing journey to support mental health. Go hard, take part in your iron therapy, and be strong. Because when your mental health is as strong as you are, there's no telling how far you'll go.
And welcome back here on Apex to Asphalt on iSports Radio, your feed for all that is sports. Darryl here with you, riding solo so far here on the show as we get into our NASCAR conversation and the return to Chicagoland. As the last couple of years, NASCAR has been racing in Chicago, downtown Chicago proper, with street course race that was plagued by rain for all 3 years. They did take a break from the street course to go to Air Base Naval Air Station Coronado in San Diego, where they had the race a couple of weeks ago. An incredible street course race for NASCAR, which is really showing that NASCAR can, in fact, be in the street course business. And there is conversation about that race coming back, the Chicago City Street Race. But for now, we are back on one of the more exciting ovals on the schedule in Chicagoland, which is come back for the first time since the COVID-19 pandemic. It was one of the races that was a casualty of that pandemic, and we hadn't been back at Chicagoland for quite some time. However, NASCAR, wanting to stay in the Chicago metro area, went back to Chicagoland for the Arrows 400 that we had over the weekend, and the race did not fail to impress, but that's just how it is with the next-gen car when it comes to mile-and-a-halves. It's been really good at these races. The issue is when we go to other races and other tracks, it seems to struggle, particularly on the road courses and the short tracks. But we had a great race at Chicagoland this weekend. However, one team that did not have a great weekend was our friend Tyler Reddick. When we left, Tyler Reddick was absolutely dominating the championship. He had over 150-point lead. It looked like he was going to cruise to the regular season title and the bonus points that come with it for being the 1 seed in the chase. But I'm going to read something to you here. And these are going to be the finishing positions since the last win for Tyler Reddick, which came at Kansas Speedway earlier this spring. Talladega finished 14th, 4th at Texas Motor Speedway, 5th at Watkins Glen International. Okay, it looks good so far. We're going to skip the All-Star race because it's a non-points event. No one cares. For the record, he finished 22nd. Charlotte Motor Speedway 4th. Nashville, he finished 6th. We were probably sitting there and saying, well, Darryl, it sounds like he's been Mr. Consistent still. Why are you going over this? Well, this is where things start to fall off a cliff. Michigan International Speedway, lap 83. Tyler Reddick ends up in a wreck, finishes 35th. Pocono Raceway rebounds for 2nd after qualifying 16th. Naval Base Coronado finishes 25th, was battling with Corey Heim for the win there as 2311 was 1-2-3, cut a tire, had to come to pit road, finishes in the 25th spot. And we've got somebody here that we're going to get into in just a moment. Then we go into Sonoma, where there are issues with the power steering. After qualifying 11th, finishes 36th. And then today, or on Sunday, Chicagoland Speedway, a hole in the radiator relegates Tyler Reddick to a 36th place finish. 4 points in the last 2 weeks have taken Reddick from leading the championship by over 100 points to now down in second by 44 to Denny Hamlin, who on the other side of this has come absolutely alive since Kansas. He finished 4th there, was 15th at Talladega, rebounded for 2nd at Texas, finished 16th at Watkins Glen, and then the All-Star race happened. And he finished 1st there, as I'm going to go ahead and welcome in guest number 1, Mr. Larry B. Good to see you again, sir. It's been quite a while since we've been able to do this.
It sure has. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Darryl has joined the club. Can we give an applause for the married man? Congratulations,
Thank you.
sir.
I don't have the ring on right now. It's upstairs. I need to get one of those black ones for when I'm not doing formal stuff. But yes, thank you. I am back now, and wedding the wedded life is great. I will say that.
Yes, it is, sir. You have a beautiful bride. You're doing great things, man. And we're glad to have you back here on the air. We know it was a hiatus, but for a man, let me just say this on the show, man. For a man who has given, and when I say this, guys, for a man who has given almost every single Monday of his life since 2017 to this show right here, whether if it was on Spreaker, whether if it was here on StreamYard. Darryl, I think you have missed like a total of 5 shows in all of those years, and it was serious stuff for work. So I'm just saying, when you were like, hey man, I got to step back for a little bit to do the wedding, you know what? that's the kind of person where I'm like, I don't even care. To take your time is what it is. Auto Sports will still be here, but you, good sir, are the one we want in that seat right there. So congratulations again. Thank you so much for all you've given to us here at IA Sports Radio. And sir, I would want to be nowhere else. I'm happy to be here tonight.
Thank you so much. Freddie B is in the waiting room. He'll be joining us for IndyCar in just a moment.
Oh, we can throw him in here. I don't care.
I see on his camera.
He's down there. We can pull him in here. I don't give a crap. This guy.
Just make sure I was like picking my nose or something before you bring me on here. Hey, I want to second to what Larry said and congratulate you, Darryl, on your marriage and joining the club here. It's an awesome honor. And it's a blessing to find the one you love and to get married and stuff like that. It's an incredible achievement. Congratulations to you. That being said, man, hey, it's great having Apex to Asphalt back live and on the air. And I will join you guys back in just a little bit when you talk a little about IndyCar. So I will step away for a little bit, catch a little bit of water, and I will be back.
Yep, and keep us updated on the World Cup. There's been a lot of controversy with this Belgium-USA game that we're not even going to touch tonight.
We'll do.
Belgium's got the lead right now. Hopefully we can come back. So we'll talk to you in a bit.
Gotcha.
So we're going to get into IndyCar for our final segment. We're going to stick with NASCAR. I was just getting into, when you got here, Larry, the torrid run that Denny Hamlin has been on since the All-Star race, which he won from starting on the pole. Third at Charlotte, and then 3 straight wins at Nashville, Michigan, and Pocono Raceway. Did not have the best of luck on the road courses. San Diego Street Course was 14th, only 26th at Sonoma after getting spun, but comes back to Chicagoland Speedway, qualifies on the pole, finishes third. Just didn't have enough there in that last run to really catch the eventual winner, Chase Briscoe, but Denny Hamlin has turned up the wick, and he, with everything he went through during the off season, he wants that championship.
How do I start this? Look, Denny Hamlin, man, highly productive 2026 season so far. As of July 2026, man, right now, he's the championship contender. He's the guy. Like, I mean, he's currently sitting atop the series. I mean, you think about this. Hamlin has secured multiple wins this year, including like a notable stretch this summer that Nashville, Michigan, Pocono, right? I mean, this guy is just racking them up, man. And this marked the first time in his 21-year full-time career that he has won 3 races in a row. He's never done this, man. His victory at Michigan also marked his 63rd career win. I mean, tying him with the late, I hate even saying this. I can't say I'm even saying late, but Kyle Busch, for 9th place on the Cup Series all-time win list. And, he later moved ahead of Busch with his 64th career win at Pocono. I mean, his qualifying performance has been insane. He's been exceptionally strong in qualifying. And throughout the summer, Hamlin has been engaged in just tight point battles with Tyler Reddick, which talk about a good season. I mean, you know what I mean? This has been so crazy, man. So yeah, I just got to say for Joe Gibbs right now, JGR, Hamlin has expressed high confidence in his team, man, noting that they are flawless, and I agree. They proved him, they've been okay. He's proven, and they provided this guy great cars, a fast car each week. He's spoken about his dedication to his craft and continued love for the sport. And Darryl, in closing, man, that just emphasizes that his results prove that he remains the top of his game.
Yeah. And I feel like I'm a broken record because I ask this every year, and I've probably asked it every year since this show has started. Is this going to be the year that Denny Hamlin finally wins the championship?
God, Darryl, you and I, we've had some great conversations on this show. And Darryl, a couple years ago, and my gosh, it's not even a couple no more. Wow. Darryl, we've known each other for a decade. what the crap? Like, this is amazing.
geez,
I love
it
it.
has been a decade, hasn't it?
Next year, we're talking about January is a decade. Okay. So yeah, that's pretty crazy. So Darryl, you and I used to talk about this guy. What's his name? Oh, he drives the Napa funny car. Yeah. And we used to talk about him not being in the great conversation because he never won the US Nats. Well, he did it. He did it. And now you can, and look who he brought along. Look at the young lady. I'm pretty sure you know her name, Darryl. Yeah. I mean, look what he's been. Ron Capps, he's not John Force. He's Ron Capps. And that's what I love. So a man who finally got one, who finally got that US Nats. And we talk about Denny now. We talk about the widely, this, one of the greatest drivers who just doesn't have anything, right? He doesn't have one, and that's like the thing that hurts. And again, I know winning a crown jewel and a title is just, they're two different things, but look, strong performance so far as of right now. He's heading in the championship standings, leading, looking good. He's already secured multiple victories. I mean, all he's got to do this year is just get it done. Look, he's hit a historic career milestone with 3 consecutive victories that we just talked about right now. Darryl, as much as I want to say, he can just continue this greatness, he's got to do it first, right? You know what I mean, Darryl? Yeah. And the suckiest part about, I don't want to say the suckiest part. A part of the sport is you're only good until you're in the championship 4 and somebody wrecks you. I mean, right? I hate to say it, but that's the nature of the sport. Can he? I totally believe he can. In my heart of hearts, I believe he can do it. But and again, Darryl, you and I are both fans. You're both fans of that mighty Michael Jordan team. Am I right? I mean, I'm such a fan of Bubba. I am such a fan of Mr. Riddick over there, and I want to see these guys win plenty. But my gosh, Darryl, if there's anybody else this year who it's got to be Denny. And you know what? Can he? Yes, he can. He can definitely do it. Will he? That's the scary thing, right? He's got to get it done.
That's the question. He's lost the championship more ways than I can count. He's invented ways.
I know.
Of losing the championship. There was the one that I remember. They ended up being Jimmy Johnson's back when we were running at Homestead in the original chase format. They slapped the biggest piece of tape I have ever seen on the front of that nose. That car makes 2 laps, blows all the water out of it, and just sold the championship. He has taken the mantle right now from Mark Martin, the unenviable title of best NASCAR driver to never win the championship. And look, Mark Martin had to run against Dale Earnhardt Sr. And when Dale Earnhardt Sr. stopped kicking his ass, he's like, okay, now I can go for the championship. Who's this kid from Indiana in this rainbow-colored car? And we saw what Jeff Gordon did to the hopes and dreams of so many all-time greats in the 90s. So many guys that don't have championships or accolades or the wins they should because Jeff Gordon just kicked their butts.
He did.
His prime.
He did. I mean, you're talking about, we're going to go into that old school bag, and I don't want to go deep, but my gosh, you talk about guys. I mean, the Labonte brothers, who were both great. Gordon said no. The officer, the Intimidator, still got some, but didn't get all he wanted because of him. I mean, you got guys. I mean, I can just name Ricky Rudd, Dick Trickle. I mean, who else? I mean, there was Sterling Marlin, Mark Martin. There were some guys back then that were pretty solid. You know what I mean? Like, maybe not all of those guys I just named, but I just wanted to, show off that I know some 90s names there. But I'm just saying, it's very true. And then here comes Jeff. So you're totally right, man. I mean, look, I would love to see Danny hoist one, man. I know his time, it's coming, unfortunately. I mean, we all, Father Time is undefeated. Can he win one, Darryl? Yes, he can. He's just got to do it. And I know that's a horrible answer because I want him to. Yes, he can. But again, he's got to get it done. So is this the year? Strap in, buddy. Make it happen. If you want to be the year, then make it happen, dude. Come on.
And to close the bow on the Jeff Gordon conversation, you just go look at the 1998 season. Mark Martin won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 races that year. Jeff Gordon won half of them, and there were 28 at that point.
Darryl, it says it all.
Yeah. I just couldn't catch a break, and I want Denny to win the championship. The good thing for Denny, no championship 4. There's only one reset this time. So if he can if he can continue what he's doing now into the final 10 races, it should be, in theory, a walk away.
Should be.
However, we have seen Denny Hamlin in this position, and he has finished second every time. How does he fix it?
What's that old saying, Darryl? Oh, never the bride, always the bride.
Yep.
He's always been the groomsman, never the groom. So
yeah,
this is it, man. I mean, get it done, buddy. Get it done. So yeah, Darryl, this has been great. Chicagoland was fun. Right down, we're talking 60 miles away from me down south. The naval base was amazing over at Coronado. I mean, Darryl, I know you missed a lot, of course, for the best reason I could ever think of, but it's just been a fun season up to this point, man. And NASCAR, you came right back at it the best time. I mean, Chicagoland concluded. That was really fun. We are going into Atlanta next. Super excited for that one. The tire eating. I mean, I love it.
Atlanta is where super speedway racing right now should be, because the track is starting to wear in a little bit, and it's just been amazing racing so far. So I can't wait to get back there. Just to tie the bow on Chicagoland, because you are kind of getting up against it. Chase Briscoe does pick up his first win of the season in what was a dominant day for Toyota and JGR in general in the Euro 400. At one point, 2nd through 5th was all 4 JGR cars. But Tyler Reddick, you have got to find whatever you had at the start of the season. You've got to get that mojo back, because right now they are in a slump.
Definitely. And it's something. It is really something, Darryl. So no, I love it. The NASCAR season has been something else. I think you already talked about the NHRA, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, really short and sweet if I can, Darryl. Just a little tiny. I'm itching. Look at me. I'm over here itching right now. So I love me some NASCAR. Obviously, though, man, talking a little. I know. Let me look at your banners over here, because I know. Sorry about that, Darryl. I'm all over the place, but so no, man. But really quick, NHRA, man, Darryl. Again, look, man. The dragster class has been an historic battle of generations, man. I mean, the season kicked off with Josh Hart winning in the hometown and getting the Gator Nats. John Force racing for his JFR debut. Sean Langdon and Doug Kalita and Anton Brown trading heavy blows. Tony Stewart captured his first career top fuel Wally at Pomona. That was crazy. The summer belonged to the youth movement, though. I mean, driving along Ron Capps Motorsports, man, the 21-year-old sensation, the rookie, Matty Gordon, went from impressive semifinal runs early on to capturing a spectacular first career national event at Norwalk. Funny car, man, has been an absolute war between legendary titans, racking up historical milestones. Tony Stewart Racing's Matt Hagan, let's go, etched his name into the record book by the emotional landmark 1000th funny car race in NHR history at the Winter Nats, man, backing it up with a hometown win at Bristol. So I'm just saying, man, I mean, that was amazing. Meanwhile, Ron Capps put together a spectacular campaign. He's been doing his thing. Again, pro stock, amazing stuff there too. It's been a relentless battle in engine building and incredible start line time reactions. Matt Hartford, sorry, is join a career year stacking diamonds, right? With 3 national event victories. I mean, it's just been crazy. Greg Anderson captured dominant trophies this year, obviously doing his thing, man. He's
to see him win in
Potomac.
In Mechanicsville.
The Potomac Nationals, man. I mean, you guys,
Which,
it's
by
been
the
fun.
way, Potomac, but that
Potomac,
was so
sorry.
fun. That was so fun, dude. I gotta take that was actually ended up being my bachelor party, getting to take my groomsmen out there for baptism by nitro. I will say the Miller family down there at MDIR has put so much work into that racetrack to get it where it is now. I've talked about the World Cup finals here a number of years. To see Royce there on Sunday, he led us on the track walk that day, and just his face was so lit up. This was his dream to have the NHRA have a nitro national event back there. They tried to get it with the IHRA. The IHRA was trying to play games. He goes back to NHRA sanction. They bring the Potomac event down there. We sell out on Saturday, a near sellout on Sunday. The temperatures were perfect. Saw a lot of track records fall because the pro classes were just on it because of how low the elevation is there, and 70 degrees. Oh, they could throw everything at it. It was amazing. And I'm already renewed my tickets, so I'm going back next year. The wife will be going next year too for the first time, so
I'm gonna try to convince the wife to go to an NHRA event, the Winter Nets.
You gotta do it, dude.
And she can't she's so very bored of NASCAR, but I'm gonna give her I got to give her an NHRA at least one time, and then she could never go again. And she has told me no right now, but it's okay. Obviously, but Darryl, I mean, yeah, man, Dallas again. A beautiful thing there. I love it. I don't want to take time away from Freddie. I know Freddie's like, crap, I'm up against the wall right now. I'm sorry, but look, that was amazing. Aaron Stanfield just doing his thing. I mean, look, this has been great. And then Pro Stock Motorcycle, Vance and Hines versus history right now. The two-wheel class has largely been a civil war inside Vance and Hines' garage. Oh my gosh. Gage Herrera, I mean, he's racked up dominant multiple sweeps at Charlotte. I mean, look, this has been something. You know, he did it at Charlotte, he did it at Bristol, 30th career victory. But don't forget about Richard Gatson, a guy who is just beyond. He's become one of my all-time favorites. I don't care if he hasn't been around too long. The guy is amazing. Emotional win on his birthday at the Gator and Nats, having a message for everybody this year. I mean, look, he's been great. Angie Smith rode into historic victory as well. You got to see that one.
Yes,
and I'm just saying,
incredible.
Man, you know, that's the landmark 200th NHRA win by a female competitor. Look, I'm just saying it's been fun. Again, I'm stepping all over Freddie's time. Sorry, buddy, but it's been great. So again, thank you so much for having me tonight, Darryl. I appreciate you. Have fun talking about IndyCar with Pato Award finally winning a race in what's that guy's name? Oh, the guy who's dominating IndyCar right now. What's his name again? Yeah.
Oh, Alex Palou.
We're all living in Alex Palou's world, right? I'm just saying. So, you know, Pato Award got a victory. You know, that's probably the only one he'll get this year because, you know, somebody's hogging all of them. But anyway, so.
Well, that said, let's get Freddie B in here to talk that IndyCar. Freddie B, the host of the Racelets podcast and too many shows to name over here on iSports Radio. Just got done with the local baseball show at Larry B earlier today. Now we're here to talk IndyCar, and we'll tee up with that one. 1-2 finish for McLaren to start what's been a really good 24-hour news cycle for McLaren Aero.
It has been. Hold on real quick.
He's changing hats. Oh, look at that.
I just want to announce that I am going to be going to Aero McLaren next year as well. Joining the team over there. Yeah, I mean, Darryl, man, we had an interesting result. I think from the race yesterday. I mean, going into it, you know, coming into this weekend, Alex Palou had won 5 straight pole positions, and it looked like he was going to come into Mid-Ohio and do the same thing. However, you know what? He's made a couple of mistakes over the last couple of race weekends, and that kind of carried over. He didn't have a slip up in qualifying this weekend here as well, starting P8, and then wasn't really in the picture to win. It was Christian Lundgaard, really the road master right now at Arrow McLaren. He had captured pole after winning just 2 weekends ago at Road America. He looked fantastic. His car was really good. His teammate started P2 right next to him in Pato O'Ward. And like you said, Larry, Pato O'Ward ends up picking up the win in this. It was the first time that McLaren has gone 1-2 in their existence in IndyCar. So it was great to see those papaya cars back on there at 1-2. And then you talk about the news cycle. There's new faces coming in next year. Scott Dixon been announced, that he was leaving Chip Ganassi Racing, and he will be and is now officially signed on for next season with Arrow McLaren. And joining them is going to be this year's Indy 500 champion, Felix Rosenqvist. He had made his intentions known. Yeah, that he wasn't going to come back.
To leave and come back. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what it was that prompted him to leave MSR, because I thought he was doing quite well. Him and Marcus Armstrong both having really good seasons this year and last year as well. And then having won the Indy 500, you think maybe they would lock him up to an extension, but I don't know if there was something going on with him and the Meyer Shank Racing team. But that was on Felix Rosenqvist to step away from them and then, getting signed on back at Arrow McLaren when he was just there 3 years ago, when it was him, Alexander Rossi, and Pato O'Ward. So, yeah, I mean, the thing with Scott Dixon, I think, is the most shocking, having spent, the last, 24 years at Chip Ganassi.
Basically his whole career.
Yeah. Nobody expected that, but at the same time, there was a great point brought up by somebody saying, you know what, it was on his terms again, going out like Tom Brady, leaving the New England Patriots and wanting to try to win a Super Bowl with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Kind of the same thing. You got one of the greatest of all time in IndyCar, wanting a change of scenery. And now you talk about Darryl McLaren being maybe the class of 2027, competing now with, Penske, Chip Ganassi, and the Andretti's. Really good. I love it, man. And it's just, it's great. It's going to bring a whole lot of dynamics to this season. We saw all the pieces fall last year once Will Power made his decision to leave Penske and go to Andretti. It was at the end of the season. We're getting this stuff here still with 5 races left to go. There's still a lot of stuff that's up in the air. Who's going to end up where? Man, the news has just been flowing, and it's all good news here on the IndyCar side.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, and I'm excited to see what Arrow McLaren looks like next year. The rumors in the paddock seem to be that this is a move over for Scott Dixon to where he can end his IndyCar career and then start driving the McLaren hypercar and start doing that for his second career, which that program is starting to develop and look pretty good. I think that car is supposed to be on the track next year, and then Ford will be joining in hypercar after that, which it's getting really crowded in hypercar, and I love it, by the way.
Yeah.
But that veteran leadership of a multi-time champion in Scott Dixon with Pato O'Ward, who is in the upper echelon of drivers in IndyCar.
Sure.
And Felix Rosenqvist, who just won an Indy 500. Those guys are going to have an open book of knowledge next year. And I would expect that the overall tide of that team is just going to go up with that much knowledge.
I think so. I think Zach Brown really nailed it, and he's trying to prove a point now. Not acquiring Alex Palou and everything that happened with that whole debacle. With him not going over there and all of that. He's now secured maybe the best team on paper as far as, you got the up-and-coming Pato Award, who's contending for a championship every season. Scott Dixon, we know his pedigree, obviously, and Felix Rosenquist. I think it's outstanding. Keep in mind, too, that you get in some of these guys who used to drive like Chevy and Will Power now going to Honda, and now vice versa with Scott Dixon being a Honda driver going to a Chevy. Interesting to see how that goes. And keep in mind, too, in 28, 2 years from now, we're going to be having a brand new car out there as well. So I think a lot of these guys want to have be in a seat so that way they will be ready for 28 when that new car becomes available.
I'm excited to see that new car, by the way. It's been a while since we've had some new carbon fiber in IndyCar. What is now the DW12 is.
The DW12, yep.
It's showing its age. I will say that it's been a car that we've had for quite some time. So I'll be glad to see that change over. Hopefully we can get that third engine manufacturer as well, although I think we're late in the day for that. But hopefully it'll come at some point. But IndyCar is looking in a good point. But to your conversation about Alex Palou earlier, apparently he's human after all.
Yeah.
I mean, he actually makes mistakes. That's
He
a
does.
thing.
He does. That goes back to Worldwide Technology Raceway at Gateway there when, it was the rain delay and he had to pit. He ran out of gas, went from the lead down to laps down, and that was just the beginning of it. Then, Road America, he has a mistake there as well with the pit lane speeding violation. It just seems like his mistakes are just magnified, though, because he's expected to be up there and winning, and he very well could have won the last couple of these races if not for those mistakes. So it's kind of tightened the championship as well. You've got David Malukas and Kyle Kirkwood and Christian Lundgaard all within about a 60-point gap now to the leader. And with Pato Award's win yesterday, he's now less than 100 points down. I think he's 94 points behind. So you still have 5 guys within 100 points of the championship. With this point last year, I think Palou had like a 140-point lead over
Palou
second
was
place.
Gone by this point. We were chiseling his name on the trophy.
I mean, exactly. Look at this, Darryl. I mean, again, sorry about that. I mean, the 7 races left, a 56-point gap at the top. And you have 5 drivers that are in full striking distance. And I mean, this is awesome. And we come to a track that's really fun too in Lebanon, in Tennessee. On the 19th, that's actually the same time as the World Cup final, which the USA will not be in, by the way. Regardless, I think I'll be watching the IndyCar race instead. But yeah, I mean, again, just a few more mistakes, which I hope he doesn't make them. I mean, because I like him. I'd like to see him, but then again, maybe he does. Maybe some of these guys, he slips up. But you have 4 guys, well, really 3 that are right there that can totally make it happen.
There's also a guy sitting in, I believe, 6th place right now in Joseph Newgarden. Is that right? I don't have the standings pulled up in front of me. He just won at Nashville last year. He's having a really good season, albeit his injured foot, having broken bones and having had his surgery. He's still considered in this championship fight. Now you go to a track, his hometown track, which he just won last year. Nashville was the season finale this year. It's moved up into the season. This could really, throw a whole nother monkey wrench into the equation here. I mean, we could really be going down to the very last race of the season, which is Laguna Seca, which I think is the best place to hold a championship race.
134 points with 7 races to go is not that big of a gap.
Not really when you consider.
He starts winning races, he could very well dominate here at Nashville again. Palou slips up a couple of times. He's right there. And we've got a couple of ovals after that. Actually, it's 2 races at Milwaukee.
Milwaukee's got the doubleheader, yeah.
So.
And then, Larry, I mean, and Darryl, we still have 2 races that nobody has tested at other than in sim racing, and that's in Markham and then in the DC Freedom 250 as well.
That's right.
So we've got 2 new races. I think it's not a foregone conclusion that Alex Palou is going to win his 4th straight championship. It's going to be a dogfight till the end.
Yeah. And Will Power won last year at Portland in his swan song.
Yep.
So it could be interesting. I'm looking forward to DC. Hopefully this race will stay around more than 1 year because, Lord, DC needs some representation on the racing front. But I am a little concerned about how the street's going to beat up the cars because streets are rough in DC.
Yeah.
As someone who's lived here, they're going to beat up your car. So we'll see.
Oh,
how
that's
it
going to
goes,
be
but
good.
It's going to be fun.
Darryl, too, I don't know if you've been following any of the Indy Next racing this season, but we've got a dogfight in that championship as well, as we've had a lead change now in the championship. Nikita Johnson has been bumped out. Enzo Fittipaldi winning both races this weekend at Mid-Ohio in the Indy Next. He now has 3 wins on this season, but it's Tymon Kucharczyk, the Polish kid, who's leading in the championship. This is awesome. We've got 4 or 5 drivers in Indy Next. They've had 8 different drivers, I think, win a race this year as well. The rookies and the guys below in this series are just blowing my mind at how well that they're doing. But where does somebody go? How does somebody move up with the talent
All the
that's in
spots
IndyCar?
are full.
Yeah.
But the good part about this, I will say this about Indy Next. Roger has really put it on the teams in IndyCar to get cars down here. And we've got Ganassi that's got 4. You've got Andretti with a couple themselves. Yep. Remember, it used to be half the cars were HMD.
Yeah.
And now you've got all these teams down here. And you've got 26 cars in the championship, or at least 26 drivers that have scored points in the championship. You've got 24 that have run the whole season. And you got a couple of drivers that have only made spot starts in 25th and 26th. But, yeah, Indy Next is looking really exciting. And if you get a chance to watch those races now, especially now that Fox shows them live, you should definitely check them out.
They're going to be going to Nashville as well, and that's where Miles Rowe won his first ever IndyCar race last year, was at Nashville. He is the king of oval racing in the Indy Next series. You know, he could be a potential driver for the Indy 500. Not sure if he's really set to have a full-time IndyCar ride, but as far as ovals go, he's definitely should have a seat driving at the 500 next year. And if he could win again another oval, I think that just solidifies that for somebody.
I agree with you, Freddie. Straight
I
up.
absolutely agree. And Miles, I know Roger Penske has spoken. He does want a black driver in the Indy 500 sooner rather than later. And Miles, he's starting to turn into an oval specialist, which
he is.
The Indy 500, it's the biggest oval on the sport. It's going to be harder to not at least kick the tires next time. See if you throw him an IndyCar at Indy, see what happens.
Yeah. And then, you know, we didn't even talk about where's Christian Lundgaard going to end up. I think all bets are on him going to be driving that number 9 car over at Chip Ganassi. Mm-hmm. Then you have the 2 best road course drivers with him and Palou. You know, there. Kiffin Simpson is going to remain there as well. And he's had a pretty solid season. And, you know, I think Christian Lundgaard is going to do quite well. He's just growing as far as his talent goes. And, he, you know, with him winning races, we saw even when he was at RLL, he deserves a good spot, really good guy. And he's just focused on racing and winning races.
Well, gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me. Before we get out of here, I do want to get back to this little tidbit where we had our driver of the weekend.
Yeah.
And I'm going to give it to someone in a non-traditional motorsport. I spoke about him earlier this morning, or earlier during the show. Jimmy Shane of H1 Unlimited fame in the Miss Apollo came back from a 4-year hiatus and wins the oldest professional motorsport trophy in the country, the Gold Cup, during the Madison Regatta this weekend. So I am going to choose as my driver of the day, Jimmy Shane. Freddie, who's your driver of the weekend?
Oh, Mom. Jeez. Oh. I don't know. I mean, I'd probably say Pato O'Ward just for picking up his first win of the season, also his first podium of the season. with all the talk and everything going on, with Arrow, it's been kind of, it could be a distraction. It's great to see him get back in the winner's circle, but also Anthony Martella driving at, the USF 2000 Pro 2000s. Dude, just killing it out there. Dominated the whole weekend.
And we'll send it to Larry for the last one.
So my driver of the year so far, right?
No, driver of the weekend.
Of the weekend. Okay. Driver of the weekend. Oh my gosh. Well, look. Yes, we love. I love your pick, by the way, Darryl. That was really fun. Pato Award, great stuff there. But I'm gonna go with Charles Leclerc, man. Why? Because screw it. I'm a Ferrari guy. So screw it. He got it done this weekend. I'm happy for him. Let's see if the Prancy horses can do anything.
Mm-hmm.
So, hey, screw it. I'll take it.
So we shall see going forward. Freddie, Larry, thank you so much for joining us. Of course, the seats are open if you want to come back next week as well. And
Definitely.
We are back. And Raceless
Thanks,
Podcast
Darryl.
with Renus VK. Thank you guys so much. Apex to Asphalt, back in the saddle. I'm so glad to be back. We will see you guys next week, 8 o'clock, right here on the IE Sports Radio YouTube channel. See you at the next green flag. Good night, everybody.
Good night.